Hello and welcome to Understanding Narcissists. Thank you so much for joining me. In this episode, I want to talk about the holy grail of emotional recovery and defending yourself from narcissism, which is preemption. How do you preempt and prevent a narcissist from infiltrating your life? And this is going to be a very, very short video, at least I hope. And the one crucial observation I want to introduce here, and I guess it's sort of a distinction as well, is strength. So, if you're like me, your first thought, your first desire is to try to see everything, is to try to be able to pick everything out and be hyper aware and observe to no end to figure who's trying to get you, how they're going to do it, and how you're going to stop them. And when you think about it, that's kind of unreasonable. It's not narcissistic, but it's what the narcissist does. It's expecting yourself somehow to control everything to some extent. An inhuman extent, a superhuman extent. What I recommend doing instead is adopting a strategy where you are more costly for them. So instead of trying to rely on a sort of superhuman awareness or even instinct to protect you, you can send the message to them without even thinking that you aren't worth bothering with. Hard to do. It helps when you're able to, like in my last video, act. When you've acted before and you've stood up to them, it becomes sort of a banner for you that everybody can see when you're strong and you don't fall under them. So in the simplest practical case, this is what will happen. Narcissists are always scheming, right? Because they want to control everything and try to be hyper aware. They're going to throw something your way, and depending on how you take it and how you react, that is going to determine if you are a victim for them or not. Because oftentimes you just victimize yourself, right? If you know nothing about it and you're used to being controlled or abused, what'll happen is you'll just fall right under them naturally. You won't even have to do anything. It's like if you beat them to the punch without being aggressive. Let them do all the work, which is going to be leaving, by the way. They're not going to want to deal with you. So don't burden yourself and stress yourself out and be anxious by having to figure every little detail out like I try to do in these videos. That's one downside of the way I do things, is that I find sometimes it's not practical, or it's hard to figure out what the practical next action to take is. But it's also suggestive that you should sort through every little thing, almost with a pen and paper, when you really shouldn't. What you should do is use all the information to adopt a new strategy, a new set of behaviors that keep them away from you. And at the core of it all will be strength and standing up for yourself, but it's so subtle when you don't respond and you don't take what they give you, right? Those signals, then they flee, they disappear, they want to have nothing to do with you because they know you're not going to take it, you're going to stand up to them, you're going to expose them, you're too dangerous for them because you're healthy, whatever that means. I'm not going to say functional or perfect or normal or whatever, but it's that threshold. You've crossed it, and they don't want to have anything to do with you. Especially new narcissists, new people. Old people will try to get you back under their thumb, and then it's a fight, but they still will avoid you. Even if they've known you well and they controlled you their whole lives, they'll be confused and they'll have a newfound, I won't say respect, but a sort of regard for you. They'll talk bad about you still and think there's something wrong, but ultimately they have to respect this new power that you have. And that's what I want to say in this video. Not being, flustered easily and responding to their attempts to get you to serve them with strength and not doing it. Almost an overwhelming passive resistance. Not an overreaction, because that would be a display of a lack of strength, because that means they can still kind of poke you and get you to react. So sort of a non-reactive resistance. You have to become an immovable object. You have to become the one who values and favors actions over words. And this is going to sound kind of weird, but I think it's really important. You have to think of yourself as the prize. And not just in relationships, but relationships too. You have to be the valuable one, right? You have to have some kind of value in yourself. And then that would also mean that you value your own happiness and therefore reducing the pain that you also have to suffer. You have to value yourself as a person, is what I'm saying. And when you do that, it'll come naturally. So when you learn everything you can and then you start implementing it, then you start acting, then you're at that stage where you can start turning them away. And it almost sounds silly the way I'm talking about this, but it's so true. Because it's not covered enough in other things I've read or learned from, that pretty constant battle of not falling back in with a narcissist and completing your sort of development away from them by being strong. And the highest level is being able to get them to turn away from you because they want to have nothing to do with you, because you scare them. And you scare them because you threaten everything that their whole lifestyle sits upon, which is deception and lies, because you're truthful and you're strong. And you simply do not give them the sort of inflated and undeserved attention and support that they aren't deserving of, that they have not earned, because they don't value other people. They just expect praise all the time. So I hope you find this video helpful. I hope you like it. Like it if you do. Share it with somebody you think might also like it and benefit from it. Comment in the comment section below about how you have been able to either reach this stage or try to reach this stage, and maybe where you're having trouble and what I can do to help as much as I can, because I can't say that I've mastered this either. But it's always something I'm trying for because it's so important. And as I say, it's kind of the holy grail. It's kind of the thing you really, really want. And it helps in all aspects of life. Let me know what you think of this topic and your experience with it and what you're working on. I would like to hear it. I know others would like to hear it. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next episode. I hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye.